In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Maad Initiative Project for promotion of Mecca identity, protection of historical antiquities and landmarks. It is Mecca, the land most beloved in the sight of Allah, core of the earth, as Allah created it, with the heavens in 6 days, and firmly established himself on the throne. From this corner, and out of this unoccupied, uncultivated, and mountain and desert-surrounded valley, the ray of illumination broke out, carrying the most significant message. It is from here the most magnificent civilization emanated to bring about the rise of humanity, so as to be the incarnation for the entire history of humankind. Allah wanted it to be mother of place, al-Qura, and had made it a place of resort and safety for mankind. Mecca continued to grow and prosper in response to the expansion works carried out to the Holy Mosque and the surrounding areas, including providing it with all required services and utilities. As exigencies of the work, the wheel of development and expansion of Allah's old mosque, its yards and facilities, imposed an expensive levy on residential quarters and the social life. Archaeological sites and cultural synergy contained therein, which altogether embody the identity of al-Qura and the spirituality of the holiest spot on the earth. Thus, the Maad Initiative for Promotion of the Mecca Identity was launched after receiving the generous support of the Emirate of Mecca region by a group of its inhabitants and other zealots. The initiative aims at preserving antiquities and Prophet Muhammad's historical landmark and developing the same in a manner consistent with the principles of sustainable development, safeguarding the identity and spirituality of the city of security, Al-Balad Al-Amin. The initiative is consistent with a new breakthrough supported by our exalted government, motivating interest in heritage and antiquities in the kingdom, and comes in line with the express calls by a number of senior Scholars' Council members after their inspection visits to a number of archaeological sites and the emphasis they placed on the significance of these sites in extrapolation and preservation of the history, as well as their express call for the abstaining from tampering or defacing them, in addition to the efforts of the General Tourism and Antiquities Authority, by launching several initiatives and programs for protection of antiquities and historical landmarks. The paramount priority and area of interest for this initiative is to stand up for the fierce and recurrent external media campaigns the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia faces in the recent years, which criticize expansion works carried out to certain antiquities and historical locations in Mecca and Medina, in order to present the real image which refutes any falsification or exaggeration. At the same time, the initiative serves to raise awareness and correct conceptions regarding antiquities in a manner that realizes the objectives of Sharia with respect to mediate at and take lessons from the traces of extinct nations, which would prevent the occurrence of some wrongful practices that violate the doctrine by some visitors of the sacred land. It also comes to recall and present examples of the glorious positions of the kings of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, particularly those made by the founder king, may he rest in peace, in preserving and maintaining the prophecy milestones by establishing a library at the birthplace of the Prophet, peace be upon him, Mecca, and transforming the house of Khadijah bint Khuwaylid, mother of the believers, into a school for the Holy Quran, and the house of Al-Arkam into a school for theology, all of which had, for the purposes of preservation, been documented by Sharia and endowment deeds. The same approach had been adopted by the pious sons King Saud bin Abdulaziz, followed by King Faisal bin Abdulaziz, may both rest in peace, who issued a royal decree on maintenance of the historical passage within the holy Mecca site, as well as the role of King Khalid, may he rest in peace, in modifying the route between Mecca and Medina to preserve the location of the tomb of Mamunah bint al-Harith, mother of the believers. There are also other landmarks during the reign of King Fahd bin Abdulaziz, may he rest in peace, up to the reign of the righteous King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, may he rest in peace, who used to repeat during his auspices of the project of the historical expansion carried out to the Holy Mosque, his emphasis on preserving the spirituality of Mecca and motivating further for maintaining it.
أن يهمنا الروحانية. كثير من الناس وكثير يبون يسوون بنا ما بنا أعوذ بالله يعني الروحانية راحت.
The initiative is also inspired by the vision of the late custodian of the two holy mosques, King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, and his project for protecting the civilizational heritage, which lays the foundations for a new phase of preserving and supporting of the national heritage. The said project is concerned with adaptation of the archaeological sites and historical roads, including the sites related to the Islamic history in both regions of Mecca and Medina. Furthermore, the initiative aims at inducing all efforts in this blessed approach to commence the development and restoration of certain antiquities and places which suffered oblivion and bereavement, or which turned into a condition inappropriate to its historical value and association with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and with the cradle of the Mohammedan message, as well as imparting the historical nature, feature, and identity to those sites which experience deformation, either due to the passage of long time or as a result of negligence of structural aspects or of the exterior surroundings which brought them out of their historic frame and proper historical standard. In addition, the initiative aims at joining the efforts of research, documentation, technical and informative studies, exchange of expertise, organizing architectural and cultural competitions, and allocating promotional awards in order to support the efforts of research, documentation, design, and development in an endeavor towards enriching the heritage arena and dissemination of its culture. The initiative team presents a set of ideas for the development and employment of these sites in a manner that serves the Mecca identity, and this includes to develop the building of the Mecca Library, which is the birthplace of the Prophet, peace be upon him, with a simple expansion in order to establish the role of this building as a library specialized in the prophetic biography, to be visited by the seekers of science and knowledge. In addition to modification to and rectification of the external facades so to resemble the Mecca architectural features. The initiative submits its proposed project for this location so to preserve the building of the library and make it consistent with the surrounding structural framework and establishing constructions around it so as to preserve also the shape of Sheheb Bani Hashim, where the Prophet was born and lived most of his life, and was also besieged. The facts that there is no book chronicling Mecca lacks an indication thereto. To develop Al-Mudhaz passage, which is the end point of Al-Fatah and Al-Janez passages, by placement of its archaeological sites and securing the needs of the guests of Allah, as well as those responsible for their service and safety in terms of facilities, praying spots, traditional markets, and restaurants. This passage is the shortest between the Holy Mosque and Jannat al-Muhallat. To rebuild the mosque that was the place of prayer of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and to develop Tua well, along with its surrounding area, such as the erection of water facilities for drinking and washing, green yards and rest houses for the visitors of the Holy Mosque, in addition to transforming the adjacent historical palaces into a museum that depicts certain aspects of the prophetic life related to the Tua. To develop the exterior architectural shape of the service benches at the northern side of the Holy Mosque, so as to resemble the Mecca architecture in the neighbourhoods, which were removed in favour of the expansion. This altogether would realise a set of benefits, the first of which is mitigating the similarity and the circular lines dominating the bench building, and removing the shape resemblance which associates it with the Roman amphitheatre, as well as assisting the visitors of the Holy Mosque to get their directions. The second benefit is the promotion of the Mecca identity by giving the names of the removed neighbours to parts of the benches. The ultimate goal of this initiative is to promote the Mecca identity through identifying all antiquities and landmarks in al-Qura, along with maintaining and preserving these sites for the generations of the nation, as well as using them to document the glorious history in order to become a living reality without affecting the functions and services to be provided to the inhabitants and guests of Mecca, such as the pilgrims and visitors. There is no doubt that history will perpetuate the memory of rulers of this country for their keenness to preserve the history and relics by means of maintenance, care, and protection. O Allah, grant this land more and more veneration, honour, deference, and grandeur. Praise be to Allah.